everyone. Welcome back to the World Blitz Championship finals. This final has consists of 4 matches, and it is between the world champion Magnus Carlsen and Norderback Abdusattorov. I finally known how to pronounce it. Well, I'm
Good.
gonna be showing you these 4 games and what happened. Whoever gets the most points out of these 4 games is crowned the World Blitz Champion. So without further ado, let's start with the first Blitz game. So in this game, Magnus is with the white pieces and Norderbeck with the black pieces. So we have a Queen's Gambit accepted, uh, and an e3. Usually I like to go knight c3 first, but okay. Knight f6. Now they're just developing. He takes the pawn. e6. Knight f3. a6. So for now they're just developing the pieces. As you can see, he wants to go b5, maybe try kick out the bishop. And Magnus castle simply. Norderback plays bishop e7. b3 by Magnus. A lot of Queen's Gambit players like to go b3, bishop b2, which is good. Then there was b6, bishop b2, and bishop b7. Then they both take the knights to the d2 and d7 square from the b file. And then Magnus plays rook c1, trying to get some target on the c file on the c7 pawn. c5 played by Norderback. And Magnus retreats his bishop to e2. So if he takes here, he's going to take back and he's going to have the open file. So Norderback castles and Magnus chops on c5. After bishop takes back, Magnus plays his knight to c4. This is an excellent move. Although I would like to probably play a3 and maybe go b4, first kick out the bishop, but okay, knight c4, queen e7, and there you go, a3 is happening. Although a5 is played, knight goes to d4, rook c8, rook a c8, trying to get back to file, and the bishop goes to f3. After bishop f3, Norderback takes, and Magnus takes back with the queen getting a slight advantage, as you can see with the evil bar after knight to d5, which is not a mistake, but there could have been better moves like he probably should have went and took it here, but Norderback played knight d5. After knight d5, the knight went to f5. This is a good move because the reason they can take, but if they take, this gets taken, which is what happened. After takes, these pawns are double, so it's better for Magnus. As double pawns is a weakness of pawns. Queen e6, rook f to d1, knight to f6, and chops. He obviously takes back with the f pawn, as now the pawns are is undoubled for Norderback, which is good. Magnus takes here. The g pawn takes back. I don't know why you. Okay, so you can't take back with the rook pawn. I mean the rook, obviously, because of that. So okay, he takes fine. King f1. Now they want to bring their king. Magnus trades on the file, and king goes to e2, king f8, rook c2, rook goes to d5, and then Magnus advances a pawn to a4. After the king moves to e7, the knight goes back to b2, trying to come to d1 or probably to c3, and then king d7, rook goes to c4, bishop goes back to come over here, knight d3 as planned by Magnus. No, was not that planned, but okay. b5, rook h4, h6 defending the pawn, and now they just try to grind in the endgame, winning pawns and stuff. And then Magnus makes his first mistake, h4. This is a mistake because of the move e5. e5 allows your pawns to advance. h4 is a useless move. Now Norberg has an advantage, but he misses it with king c7. Now it's drawn. Magnus plays rook h7, not the best move, but okay. King goes to b6, that was the only good move. Rook goes back to h6. After the rook goes back to h6, that is also a mistake because of actually rook to g3 and then trying to target this pawn would be winning for Nordenbeck. Although he takes this one, another miss. So Magnus is usually blundering and missing exactly what's happening. King goes to b4. Another mistake. King takes b3. Another mistake. Although Nordenbeck is better, now Magnus had a bit of a mishap. He makes a big blunder, costing the game, and Nordenbeck wins because Magnus played rook d8. Rook d8 is a blunder because of bishop to b4. Norderback finds that, and in this position, Magnus Carlsen resigns to Norderback Abdusattorov. So the reason is This is forced mate. You can't stop this mate. The only way you can stop this mate is pawn to e4. Then you still go there and you win the rook. So Magnus resigned, and as you can see, the first game, well done to Notterback for winning it. Now I'm gonna go through the other three games. So in this next game, right? So yeah, so I was saying, in this game, I'm gonna be showing the second round. So between Notterback and Magnus. In this game, Notterback's with the white pieces, as he has the advantage with a point up. It's good he's white as Magnus with the black pieces. So let's start. Notterback begins with e4, d6. If you did not know, this is the perk defense of the d4 knight f6 main line. Bishop d3. If you're an attacking player, I like the move f3. It's the 364 attack where you go c4 and castle queenside, and then you play bishop h6 because and queen d2, as they're gonna fianchetto black and play kind of king's Indian, and you go h4 g4, which is the purpose of f3. Although it's fine, let's carry on. Bishop d3, pawn to e5 by Magnus. This is all normal. Takes knight f3. And then Magnus plays his knight to bd7. So now that he's developing, not a bit castled. He's getting a bit of an advantage with his knight on c4. But this is a draw. b4, capitalizing the advantage. Okay. There's a trade of rooks. The bishop goes back to f8. Magnus brings it back there. So maybe you can kind of go g6, bishop d7 later, I think. But bishop c3 on the diagonal, well, the e5 pawn's there, but you can maybe play f4 later on. So bishop b7 is played, rook e1, bishop to d6. And then Norderbeck takes there, not the best move. He should have probably went safe, I don't know, knight f to d2 actually. Yeah, that's the best move, and knight to b3. Or even h3. Or even knight, yeah, knight h4 to f5, yeah, also. Okay, but there, now, after knight takes back, they traded, and queen e7 is the whole point. The great move by Magnus. Knight goes back to f3, and then Norderback takes on b4, trades, and brings his queen to a7. Now Magnus chops on e4, best move, takes back, takes there, and then his queen b8 check. Queen goes back to f8, the only move, as if rook back, then there would have been a rook takes e8 and a mate. Not mate, but like still queen f8 first. Queen takes e7, you take there, and pawn to b5. So now it's equal in material and everything. Nordenbrand brings his knight to f3, queen to e8, queen back to e5, offering a free trade, accepted. And as you know, Magnus is the best in endgames. And plus, Magnus is with 30 seconds and Nordenbrand with a minute, but Magnus, being the endgame king, manages. So this is still a draw. Anyone can draw this, but a3, knight c6, knight f6. The blunder will happen. So in this position, he played king e2, the only losing move. It's still better for Magnus. You're supposed to go something like king c1. King e2 allows king c3, a great move by Magnus. Now you're gonna lose the pawn because if you go there, you've got checks and stuff. So king takes c2, knight to d4 check. We can give a few checks, but this is actually a winning endgame because after you push queen take, you have enough pawns. And in this position, Nordenbach with 10 seconds, Magnus with 13, resigns. So that was an excellent endgame by Magnus. Really admiring, beating Nordenbach. I don't blame Nordenbach for anything, as that was a good game. Magnus managed to win. So now it's 1-1. So the third match will be very crucial between these two, as Nordenbach won with black, Magnus won with black. And now let's go through the third game. So in the third game, this was an excellent game by both sides. Magnus and Nordenbach played brilliant chess in this game. It was absolutely stunning. So in this game, Magnus is with the white piece and Nordenbach with black. Let's start. d4, d5, knight c3. This time instead of a queen's gambit, Magnus plays knight c3, knight f6, bishop f4. I forgot the name, but this is a kind of opening which is played. It's like a kind of London with knight c3, where you go queen d2 fast. I forgot the name. But okay, c5 for Magnus. Okay, best move e3, takes, a6. This is the line played. I've heard of this line. I know this. And yeah, so After that, knight goes to f3, knight c6, and then he jumps in knight e5, Magnus. After the bishop goes to d7, defending, Magnus drops his knight back to e2 to go to b3. No, not to h3, b3. I'm so bad at arrows. e6, the solid move. e3, takes. And currently we're just playing solid with 1 and 1. Queen moves to c6, decline the queen trade. But now this allows h5, a great move that Magnus finds. So well done to him for finding that. And then bishop goes to d3, h4 is played. Knight e2, bishop to d6. And then I want to go through this game fast. So now they just slowly grind the queen slides back, castles, take. And then they just eventually, after trading a lot of pieces, get into an endgame rook and queen. Not back with the advantage, finding a brilliant move, sacking the rook. Not back. The point is queen c8, and it's a draw. Because when the king goes there, you're gonna go back, and if you take, then it's gonna be a draw by repetition. So this position, after Nordenback played it, he offered a draw, and that was a very quick game. Magnus accepted the draw, seeing the repetition. That was a great move, forcing the draw. Nordenback did, and so well done to Nordenback for finding that brilliant move, forcing the draw. So that was not they didn't play the repetition out, but okay. So that was a very quick game and good game by both sides. They didn't make many mistakes. And now it comes down to the very final match. Whoever wins it will be the world champion. If it's a draw, then they'll decide. So let's go over the last game. So in this game, Norderblacks with the white pieces and Magnus with the black. Once again, Norderback with the white pieces with the advantage and Magnus with the black. So let's start. Norderback wins with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. They're playing very solid just to not lose and lose the title. So this is a royal opening, a solid opening, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, d3, b5, bishop b3. This is all normal. I like planting the bishop on c5. So here you usually want a castle, but Norback plays a4, a bit aggressive. Rook e8's played, takes, knight c3, castles, d6. So d6 played, another line's h6, on to h6, but now h3, I like going bishop e3, h6, bishop e3, just like I was saying, rook e8, knight goes to e2, bishop f8. Now they're kind of shuffling, trying to gain a kind of advantage in position. As you can see, Magnus is trying to strike, Norderback's also trying to fight back, as they also fight with draw as they don't want to lose the title. So rook's trades on the brief. So now they're trading a bit. Rook goes to c6. Norderbeck strikes rook to b8, going up. Magnus moves queen to e6. Queen a8, threatening some things on the 8 rank with the f8 bishop. Rook takes c3. And Norderbeck does have an advantage with the move knight to f5. He's doing brilliantly. Magnus finds the only defending move, knight to d7. Now Magnus has 30 seconds, Norderbeck has a minute. Norderbeck plays rook e8. Magnus slides his queen to c6, and the queen's a trade. Now it's just a draw. It's a simple draw. h4, rook goes to c8, knight f6. And now Magnus, being the endgame king, is trying to grind as much as he can. Moving his knight to the center. f6. Just look at how he plays. He's already got the advantage. Bringing his king there. Rook c8. And then finally, Norberg made a mistake. Rook a2. Knight d4 is played by Magnus. The point of the mistake was to go rook c4. Magnus didn't see that. That would attack the knight. Okay, knight d4 is also a move. Bishop e3 attacking. Knight goes back to f4. Bishop b6, my order back. Magnus offers a trade. Now Magnus is happy. He's in the endgame. And now watch it grind. Just look. Bishop b4 attacking the rook. Rook a2, bishop c3, rook c2, king e4. Magnus bringing his rook slowly. Perfect endgame technique. A rook's traded. Rooks are traded. Bishop e7, e4. It's a draw. Not a back in defense. When Magnus playing, it's very hard. And just like I said, Norderback makes the mistake of the game and maybe even his life. Bishop c1. Bishop c1 is a mistake because it allows e3. Magnus finds it with 9 seconds on the clock and Norderback with 6 seconds. Now watch. You can't take. You can't take because of this. You took with the bishop. But now still, bishop takes g3. If you take there, I take your bishop. Oh my word. Bishop goes back to g5 to get taken. and he thought he can take here, but then you take here, and then Magnus would be a pawn up, and his king would be in the perfect position. So that's why Norderback resigned in this position against Magnus Carlsen. Absolute brilliancy, endgame grinding by Magnus Carlsen. He's truly the endgame king, beaten Norderback. Now Norderback ended up with 1.5 out of 4, and Magnus with 2.5 out of 4. And there you go. Magnus already won the Rapid Chess Championship finals, and now he even wins the Blitz. Truly, Magnus should be now world number one, and as he is, so well done to Magnus, and good try by Norderback. So that was the final game. So thank you for watching. You can please like and subscribe this video. I would really like it. Well, thank you. Goodbye.